Let's go ahead and get started and kick this off. Hey, Michael.
Sounds good.
Good.
So my name is Tara and that's Amanda, and we are both from VisualSP, and we are so excited for this roundtable. We want to share just a little bit about our goal for this is for everyone to collaborate and share insights and solutions for digital adoption challenges. We really want each of you to walk away with a great takeaway that you can use to perform better. So this is going to be recorded and saved to our YouTube channels so that we can share the awesome insights we get with others, and also so you can go back and review that for yourself. We would love to help you connect with other people in similar roles. So to do that, we're going to ask you in the chat to share your role, your company, your industry, and number of users. No need to memorize that. Amanda's going to pop that in the chat so that you can see what that is. That just helps you get a sense of who's doing stuff that's maybe similar to what I'm doing so that you can connect with that person as well.
Yeah. If you feel comfortable doing so. I mean, I know
if you feel comfortable. Yeah.
Yep. But we would like to facilitate. I know that in my previous life at my past company, I'd like to see when there are other people going through kind of the same challenges that I did, because the industry is similar, the number of users is similar. The roles totally could be on totally opposite ends of the spectrum. I mean, there is no one role at every company that, here, you are in charge of digital adoption. So that's one reason we want to maybe connect people together with similar roles and similar companies. So thank you very much for entering that in there. Looks like we have another joiner. Hey, Jeff.
Hey, always late, but always gonna be here. So you know how it is.
Welcome.
All right. Well, we were
awesome.
Yep. Go ahead, Tara.
So while our goal for this is that all of you are going to do most of the talking, but we are going to kick this off really fast by showing one of the cool ways that you can use AI in VisualSP to solve your digital adoption challenges. So that's just going to kick us off, and Amanda's going to go ahead and show us that.
All right. Thank you, Tara. And it's not just VisualSP, but AI is everywhere we look now. So I know in Edge, we have this built-in Copilot. And I've been hearing from some people that it would be great to give more guidance about Copilot and AI and how you use this. So you can see here, I have this banner. It's automatically loading anytime you're in the Edge browser now, just saying, you know, let's not share any confidential information, but you can also have any of your company specific guidelines, you know, showing to people all the time just to make sure that they're using it the right way. But you know, you can do anything with Copilot, and it's like I said, they're making it more available everywhere you are nowadays. So you're going to be seeing AI everywhere, and it will help. There is a little bit of a learning curve, adoption curve. There always is, but VisualSP can definitely help you with that, or any kind of digital adoption platform can really help get your users up and running with it. So, so that's just one way we can use it there. Also, the next thing I wanted to show was in, like I was working in Power Apps the other day, and I was using AI Copilot again to create, actually it was in Power Automate, but here you can see that we have, okay, so here we can have Copilot usage guidance. We have it that way. If we go in, and this is another really cool way that you can use AI is to create the actual help. So if I go down to, this is just one of our help items. It's rich HTML. It's really simple. And now we have this thing where we can translate it to another language. We can use AI to generate a short summary. So there are many ways that we can use AI now. Let's see, let's say remind users not to enter confidential information into Copilot. Okay, so we can generate this. It gives us some guidance. So this actually creates your guidance just by using AI very quickly. We also have a cool thing now. Let's just hope that there. Now we have translation also. So AI not only can type up your help items in English, but it will also translate it for you. So there are some really cool things on the horizon for AI, including creating content and translations. Another amazing thing is clarity. And so it's kind of the best kept secret of Microsoft. It's a really cool application, and I don't know how many of you have used it yet, but it's so easy to create segments and just start watching for where in your environment people are having rage clicks, dead clicks, quickbacks, what your most popular pages are. So this is, if I go into filters and I do, let's just say last 30 days, click apply, and now it's showing us the last 30 days in our project, which is the VisualSP customer demo account. And that's within Clarity, but it's showing us where there are dead clicks. If I click on this, it shows us recordings of where we're getting the dead clicks. If you go to heat maps, that's another really cool place to go to see where people are clicking in your environment. And then when you are looking at recordings too, sometimes you'll see the summarized recordings come to life, and that's AI working within Clarity. And that'll give you a summary of the hundreds or thousands of instances of people working within your environment and show you where the dead clicks are or where people are working with the heat maps. So really cool stuff with AI. If you want to discuss this more, go ahead and ping me. And I wanted to show you this just to get your creative ideas and thoughts flowing so that we can go into our discussion of how have you been using all of this technology to help you with digital adoption. So most companies have gone through, digital transformation, and there's always going to be a learning curve. There will always be the early adopters, and there will always be, we need to get all of our adopters using the same tools and processes. How do we get there? So now, after going through just that little, let's expand our brains a little with AI, let's open it up to the open discussion. And we would love to get as many participants as possible talking about the challenges that you have seen with this digital adoption transformation and this transition of trying to get your users using these new tools, the cloud processes, so that you can optimize their productivity. So I'm going to open it up right now. Feel free to unmute and just start talking about your experiences. I also have some that I can share, but I'll give it just a couple of seconds for anybody to start sharing. Okay, I thought this might happen. So
I'll say something.
Oh, sure. Caroline, yay. Hi.
Hi. I think one of the big challenges that we have is that people are so busy with their day jobs that taking the time to set aside to learn something new is a huge challenge. So even if they want theoretically to learn whatever the new method or the new process or the best practice is, just them being able to try and find the time or get permission to allocate that time to the task of learning is very challenging.
Totally agree. And on the flip side of that is whenever you have a role and you are trying to own a product, you don't have time to create that onboarding or that learning content. So yeah, that comes in many different forms of not having the time or resources to really learn it. So along those lines of that challenge of not having the time to learn something, what are some solutions that people have come up with? And I'll just throw VisualSP out there. I'm not biased at all, but but any other solutions, VisualSP or not? I mean, we want to hear some creative solutions, and if not solutions, also just your 2 cents. Go ahead and vent. We want to hear it all.
Well, Amanda, I know that go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So I'm at Oak Ridge National Lab, and we've been doing a lot of, not hugely advanced items. We're moving some classic SharePoint sites to modern. but supporting that, and it's just one more thing that's sort of back burner for most of the customers that are hitting it. And so we've been able to make good use of rather non-intrusive reminders of schedules and what's going on, pop-ups, banner ads, that kind of, not ads, banners. And so while some people might be kind of used to some of the Microsoft looking things, we've been able to shake things up just a bit, getting their attention, and VisualSP has been a huge help with just some of those back burner migration projects that have been really successful. I think large part due to the resources that are available to them across the lab, and just the fact that we can make those changes using a tool that hits all of our sites at once. It's just been really powerful for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to say that I think one of the biggest challenges that I run into as sort of an MSP and a consultant is working with clients, not necessarily always understanding the specifics of their business. I understand and I speak technology very well, and I kind of have to sit with them to see how that technology can be adapted for their particular environment and how they use it. And being passionate about technology, I can go on and on. Obviously, I can drone on about it to them and how great it is and how it's going to make things better. But it's always hard to put it into an applied type situation when I'm not sort of sitting there with them and seeing what they do every single day. And on top of that, sometimes me trying to convey my passion for how that technology is going to help them, I just don't think that it translates. A lot of times it's in one ear, out the other. It's probably similar to what Caroline said. People are they're busy as hell. They've got plenty of things to do. So it's difficult for them to kind of focus in on that. VisualSP is new to me, something that I kind of stumbled upon recently. And the fact that there's now a training tool that's right in front of them as they do their work, it's like, I'm excited about the possibility of it, because I'm always frustrated by, again, also too, implementing great solutions for clients and then coming back behind them afterwards and seeing that you're not using any of this, and that they're necessarily not even feel like they're getting maybe the value out of it. I'm like, you're missing the whole point of why we did all of this. And so again, I can't just nonstop beat a drum on them. And not to mention, usually the business owner, they're paying me by the hour, so they don't want to sit there and pay me to beat on people or whatever it is. So I keep thinking there's got to be a better way, and I see this as a great tool for that.
That's great to hear. I completely agree. And the digital adoption platform tools out there is gradually growing because people are seeing that it's an essential part because of the challenge of not having the time or the resources to get people using these tools. And I love that you pointed that out, Michael, about you build these great tools and then nobody uses them. Yeah. So you've spent all of this time and effort, major projects, and yet nobody's doing it. Nobody's adopting them. That's a really good point.
And there needs to be the way that this will flag people as they're doing their day-to-day work, whether they're out in the field, they're in the office, they're in their own little cubby working from home or whatever it is in their particular environments. They'll flag them, kind of, guide them along, and that doesn't necessarily result in a phone call to me and how do I do this or whatever. I think is fabulous.
That's great.
And one step further beyond the training is also, I'm a feedback junkie, self-admitted, and love to hear how things are going. And so often we say, well, no news is good news, unless they're not using it and they haven't seen it. And so having the data to show that they are seeing it and they're not complaining about it. So, okay, we'll take that as good news. One step further, and we were just talking about implementing some of this yesterday. I'd love to hear more. If you guys have had use VisualSP for 1 and 2 click surveys, just do you love it, hate it type thing. We have a couple drafts of what we're going to do for rolling that out, but I just want more feedback from our customers. Anybody use survey type responses on applications?
I do not, but
VisualSP. I do think I wanted to come back to what Michael was saying. I think in trying to address people who are super busy, finding a way to give them the help, what is it, as he says, at point of need, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not just the theoretical, there is this help thing out there. Mm-hmm. That's all very well, but the real crux of when people are going to use it is when they need it. Mm-hmm. And so if you can get them at that point and say, hey, I've got something which is going to help you right now with the thing you're asking, then you've then you've got them hooked, and then they're going to be in, and they're more likely to use it. So I think finding those real world scenarios that match up to whatever business, if you can frame whatever the tool is as a way of addressing the busyness that they face, then it doesn't feel like a new thing that they have to learn. It feels like a way of solving a problem they already have.
And making them more efficient. I think that's a big thing. Yeah. I love what Michael said about like getting into their needs and so forth. So as you're getting into their needs, like they get the feel that you are on their side. You want to help them be more efficient and productive. And so, yeah, I love that. Paul, were you going to say something?
I have not used the feedback, but if anyone has any easy ways to use it, I mean, I would. I'll take anything right now. We implemented VSP back in January, so we're finishing up our first year. I'm excited to see what the second year brings, but obviously if anyone has any of those feedback ideas, I'd love to see them, or if anyone has any screen captures of how it works for them, that'd be cool too. Just fishing for ideas. Thank you.
Sounds like something that we could go over in your meeting, in our meeting next week, Paul.
Yes, please.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have some templates, and I'm actually working on some kind of expanding the capabilities too, for feedback and surveys for VisualSP. So I have some ideas. We should definitely talk about it. One of those, I guess, is we do have the VisualSP SharePoint Online web part, and I'm trying to figure out how to efficiently use that to just put a poll directly on a SharePoint page, and it's a VisualSP poll. So that would be, I think, a fun thing to get into, but just started looking into that myself and trying to find some creative solutions for that. So
I haven't spent a lot of time on the back end of it yet. Like I said, I'm just kind of getting experience with the front end, but I mean, I'm certainly very excited about what's on the back end of it, the analytics and stuff, and to see how it is actually driving adoption and people are starting to use it. But is it just strictly, does it show all of your entire environment of products that you're using, in Microsoft 365, or is it just where VisualSP is on or how does that? Because I know that these type of questions are going to come up from the decision makers ultimately when I'm meeting with them and seeing how effective is this tool? Is it really working? Is it worth the value and everything else? As opposed, again, to me billing them hourly for my lame training sessions. So what type of information you get out of that?
The combination of VisualSP Analytics and Clarity can get you a ton of information. And we've actually just released a new version of VisualSP that will make it even easier to see numbers for non-Microsoft 365 applications. Yeah, you can pretty much apply VisualSP to any web application now, and we've made it even easier to do that. And now we can really filter down and get the analytics from those pretty easily too. So yeah, we can definitely go deeper into the capabilities of VisualSP at some point. Maybe we should set up a meeting, Michael.
I've done a couple.
True. Maybe we could set up more about analytics and Clarity and deep dives. Okay.
Absolutely.
One of the things that I've done is make some training videos where I've made the training videos, and then I've gone and created them as VisualSP items. So then I can use the analytics to track who's looking at the training videos. So that's been useful for me.
That's a great idea. Yep. Yeah, we've also had customers take VisualSP help items and say, hey, reminder, you need to watch this video, and then link from there to another help item that opens it, and then you can very easily track who actually clicked on the hey, okay, I'll watch it right now. Yeah.
So Amanda, for that situation, does it track, let's say you do it in a banner, right? So will the analytics say you clicked on the banner, or will it also say I clicked on the watch video?
If you have it linked to another help item, which is the video, then you can see if they actually clicked on it to watch the video.
Oh, so it's a 2-for-1. Okay, because in my banners, because I didn't know how it worked, I would tell the users, click here in the training tab. So, okay, so if I put the link there and they click it through the banner, I'll get another data set for that. Okay,
Yes.
great. Thank you.
Yep, we can work on that next week.
This roundtable format is so awesome. Some of you who have actually been there with me before also, you know how the feeling is to get everybody's perspective, like Paul was asking. I'm looking for ideas. Everybody's thinking about that. What are other people doing? And I see a couple of folks who have not spoken yet, but they're my good friends. I'm going to pick on them. Hope you don't mind. You know who I'm talking about, Jeff Borsch and Michael Blumenthal. It's been a while for both of you. If you guys have anything that you want to share, your experiences, your thoughts. You've been around for a long, long time in this arena, not just with VisualSP, but even before with the Microsoft ecosystem. So looking forward for you to also share some of your thoughts.
Mike, you go first. Mike, you go first.
I'll make sure I'm unmuted. Let's see. So we use VisualSP extensively across M365, but we also have deployed it to some of our other applications. We've got a timesheeting application that is, well, it's not as user-friendly, as elegantly designed. The user experience it feels, even though they just did some kind of UI update, still feels somehow clunky and not the friendly experiences we're used to in most of the M365 apps. So being able to have VisualSP, have the in-context help there is very valuable. And similarly for our expense reporting application, we're planning to use it there too, because that's the kind of thing where a lot of people only do expense reports once in a blue moon, so to speak, very infrequently. And so having that in-context help there is also very valuable. Something that someone said earlier that I wanted to expand on. Let's see. The Microsoft is changing their URLs, got to make sure that we keep up with those so that the help tab shows up on all the sites that it should. They've recently adopted a new cloud.microsoft URL, so it's no longer microsoft.com in a number of their sites. It's now cloud.microsoft. What was the other thing?
You can come back if you want.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Thanks, Michael.
Sure.
Jeff, now it's your turn. You're on the docket.
Oh,
Can't
man,
get away now.
On the fly. I've known Asa for many years before VSP came into effect, and I love working with Amanda too. She's awesome. Give her a raise, Asif. Gotta keep that girl there. Tara, I don't know you very well, but I can already tell you're awesome. So
I'll take a raise. Sure.
You're trolling, Jeff.
I know, right? So we're a government agency in Texas, and we have a team of 3. We support a lot of applications, probably too many for our small little team. It started off with SharePoint. Now we have Teams. We're tinkering in Power Platform, and all those little extra O365 apps that happen, like Planner and Whiteboard and Forms, and just every little thing for some reason comes to my team because nobody else knows how to do anything in them. So there's lots of opportunity. Not gonna lie, and I tell Amanda and I told Eric and I've told you, Asif, too, this is something I wish I could do full time. I mean, I wish I could. I love training. I had to learn SharePoint. The only way I learned SharePoint was through SharePointvideos.com years and years ago. So, I think training is so crucial, and I would love creating more things in VSP. It's finding the time, unfortunately. My team gets bogged down with just tons and tons of stuff, and as a result, most of the time the things that don't get worked on that need to be are like VSP and a migration tool and things like that, unless we need it. So that's our first obstacle that's really hard to overcome, no matter how hard you try. So maybe if I retire and come back, I can do training solely, and I can work on VSP and things like that. But so that's our first obstacle. But like Michael said, there's opportunities outside of O365. We don't have Aspect. We only have it for O365 environment. But I see some opportunities that the entire agency uses where the help is awful. I mean, especially when it comes to your pay and your leave hours and things like that everybody uses on a day in, day out basis. You would think they could build in a better help system, but they don't. So I see lots of opportunity for expanding it out to some other applications that we have, Salesforce, NetSuite, our own in-house apps for, like I said, time accounting and, pay and all that stuff, your W-2s and just all that stuff. It would be so cool if we had leveraged, we could leverage VSP more. So unfortunately, I don't have anything to add in that respect other than it sounds like I'm playing a violin. But I will tell you that anytime I've ever needed help, Eric's always been there. Amanda's been there. Asif, you've reached out as well. You guys have always been totally awesome. Best support company that I've ever worked with as far as just literally working with a customer to make sure that y'all are providing what we need. And I thank you guys so much for that. So even though we don't talk a lot, and our meetings went from monthly to quarterly, we still appreciate everything that you do. And, there you go. Some people I recognize on the call, like Carolyn, I think I've talked to you before, right? I recognize the accent. So I know we've communicated before.
I've got an accent.
Yeah. So, but just having these webinars and the other meetings that you used to have, where everybody participates and just talks about things. Nobody does that except for you guys. So I really appreciate that. Anyway, kudos is about all I can give you guys right now, but I want to do more. That's the name of the game. So
thank you, Jeff. That means
absolutely.
a lot to hear.
Aww.
That. We did used to do these roundtables. I'm glad that we're picking back up with them again. When I was a customer, I was a part of those too. So it's crazy being on the other side of this and actually doing them, but I'm really glad that we are. I mean, we had some customers, some of you on here saying, hey, let's start this back up again. Come on, they were fun. They were great. So yeah, I'm really glad that we are. Thank you very much. Hopefully we'll start getting more and more people in here, but that's a good point though. What are you using VisualSP for? What apps? I did see in the chat that Paul was asking,
he was asking who uses VisualSP for Dynamics 365, finance and operations, or other ERP systems. Anyone do that?
Let me see if we don't really have any of our Dynamics customers on the line too much.
I wish they were, because I'm trying to get it adopted by someone, and they're kind of going the route of Salesforce, whatever. And I know this works for that as well too. But I would really love to have heard how this, what people's experience is with it in Dynamics, because I sort of feel like Salesforce, in a sense, with regard to sort of a CRM solution and other things, that it's kind of like the Kleenex of tissues. Everyone just thinks that's it. And you say Dynamics and they're not really sure. And so that's actually been some of the pushback. And I can't for the life of me, when you kind of build inside of an ecosystem, and both for security and flexibility and convenience and integration and everything else, that people want to go outside of that. And so it was Dynamics that, in doing research for it, that drove me to VisualSP, that I found that this was maybe a tool that could accelerate adoption, because it's not a product that I know a whole lot about, but I know it's kind of inside of the ecosystem of stuff that I'm constantly supporting. But again, for me also, if I were to see, again, how easily certain products could possibly be adopted, it would probably get me to wade into maybe wanting to consult on those things more as well too. So.
That's a very good point. We have lots of customers using it for Dynamics. So maybe that should be a future topic is, how do we use this, and how do we use any kind of digital adoption platform in Dynamics? Because there are tons of good solutions that I've seen from other customers. So yeah, future topic for sure. Looks like Kaveh and Paul both have their hands raised. Kaveh?
Okay, yes. Hi, everyone. All right, so I've been with VisualSP for a while now, helping. And yeah, so my question is, because I saw that as a pain point for two people here, and I want to learn more about the expense report, like filling out the expense reports and the challenges that you guys have there. I mean, like that's very interesting. That part was very interesting for me.
Yep, and we definitely can use VisualSP about that. But yeah, has anyone used or have any tips and tricks about expense reports that's on the line?
So I built a draft. We use Concur at Signode, and well, one, building expense reports is still a challenge for people, and then also to those that approve it. It kind of goes both ways. I wish I had some feedback, but I mean, we're getting a new expense report system. So, Kaveh, if you want to keep in touch, I can let you know how it goes. But from the HR side, you know, for example, for people that don't travel a lot or for managers that don't approve a lot, right? I know that this tool will be great for them. And then I wanted to add, I think it was Michael. So a couple of years ago, we just launched D365 CRM or sales, and I wish we had Visual SP. So we're I'm kind of doing this backwards, but if you use D365, it's way different from Salesforce, right? The concerns I get from D365 sales is that like it's not intuitive, it's a busy screen, there's so many of that. And I wish I just had this tool to actually break down and do all the trainings for all these small pieces we have in D365. But again, better late than sorry. But Kevin, I'll let you know how it turns out here. And we also are starting to use it for our onboarding here at Signode, because man, it's a thing that managers don't do a lot, right? And they forget, and they're just like, okay, what do I need to do? What forms do I need to fill out? So we're excited to use it for that too.
Great.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Yeah, that'll be another topic in our meeting next week, Paul. Yeah, lots of things that you can do with Dynamics. Some of the challenges with Visual SP in Dynamics is trying to find those selectors so that your inline help buttons and icons and everything like that stay where they're supposed to. So when people are working with Dynamics, that's one thing that I do want to maybe cover in a future topic, maybe not really a roundtable, maybe we can do a webinar on it, because I know there are lots of people that struggle with trying to find how to place items in Dynamics, because it's so dynamic, it's difficult to find them. Sorry about the pun. Tara.
Yeah, I noticed several of you mentioned your limited times. You've talked about your users' limited time, but you're stretched for time. If you could do this all day, you would. What are some strategies that have been successful for you to make the most of the limited time that you have to invest in digital adoption for your company?
Coming to the roundtable.
I love that.
But seriously, learning from other people is super helpful. I was part of the previous roundtables, and I really felt like I learned a lot. Just sometimes it's just validation that you're not going crazy, that that other people are going through the same challenges that you are. But also, like when Paul said, I'm looking for ideas, it's a great opportunity to get those ideas. You get those like-minded people. It really, really helps. So I'm only quarter joking.
Looks like Michael probably remembered something. Michael Blumenthal?
I actually want to sort of bounce off something that was just said, which is ask a question to the group of how do you figure out what people need help with in terms of digital adoption? I mean, I came up with a 5 or 6 point framework of the things that people deal with every day: chat and meetings, task management, email management, document collaboration, and we put together training materials and so forth on this. But I'm not sure if it I'm not sure if it really meets, or I mean, we know it meets some people's needs in some way, but like, how do you what else do you do, or what other things do you do to discover the needs? Like, do you do company-wide surveys? What questions do you ask? How do you uncover where the pain points are for end users?
Jeff's got an answer, looks like.
Yeah, Jeff.
It helps to turn the mute button off. So a couple of things on that, and I've been at my agency, it'll be 36 years in January. So, you know, when you're with a place a long time, you learn how to, you know, kind of look at some of your resources. So one of the things I would do, I don't know if you guys have a help desk or not, but we have a help desk, and it sits in IT. So not only do they handle anything in the agency, but anything related to IT, from logging on to passwords to, you know, everything. So you might have a contact at the help desk to where you could find out, hey, we're getting like 10 calls a day on this. That might be a good time to create a help item. And the other thing is, at least I know we've gone through this when I've been on the call with either Eric or Amanda, is you can find out what people are searching on. And if you know you have quite a few folks, in fact, I know somebody, I can't remember if she's still there or not with VSP, but she said she reviewed the things that people were searching on, and she immediately created a help item every time that somebody would search on it, because that was something somebody needed help on. I don't know if you want to do it for a one-time question, but you know, if you have 3 or 4 people, 10 people over the course of a week or a month asking the same question, and it doesn't even really have to maybe even relate to anything specific in O365, because a lot of people don't know what sits in what environment. They just know they need help with XYZ. So, you know, get with the person that supports XYZ. You may not have Ask Vic and have a help item in the app, but you could at least create, if they have a page somewhere or a help page, you can put a link in VSP to point them in that direction, and you've kind of provided some people assistance that otherwise would be looking around for information and can't find it, or bog the help desk down. So that's my take on it.
The watching or looking at the search reports is a good reminder. I know that we get some of the search reports monthly, and I believe we do have a process. I'm actually at the place I work, NORC, Social Science Research Institute. My peer is the service owner for our VisualSP usage, and I think he, on a regular basis, creates new articles based on some of the search findings. So that is good. I'm thinking more broadly about the M365 adoption, and I think the challenge we have with using our help desk is that for reasons I don't understand yet, people are not super excited about opening help desk tickets. People seem reticent, or people will not prioritize that as a way to solve their problem. I'll open the help desk ticket after I get done with whatever deliverable I'm working on, or I assume other people are having the same problem, so someone else will open it. And it's impossible for us to troubleshoot things when we don't know that there's a problem.
We have that problem too. We have that problem too.
Yeah. And I see a comment here. Help desk shortcut in VSP. Yep. You click on what we branded it as NORC Help, and you click on there. Top link is open a service desk ticket. So we make it as friendly as possible. We've got a DNS alias for it, so it's easy, a memorable name to type into the URL. Probably have a desktop shortcut for it, but the people, and I mean, I guess I can relate to this because there are some problems that, some of those tickets result in us opening tickets with Microsoft. There are things that I run into which I know are broken, and they're like, opening a ticket with Microsoft does take a lot of is a significant time commitment, and so there's things that I avoid doing. The things that aren't painful enough that it's worth the time to do that. And so I think people feel the same way, and so that's why it feels like we don't have as good data about people's struggles as we'd like to.
I often kid around, we do quality control for Microsoft because I feel like we open tickets almost on a daily basis for something. Literally, they know my name. They do. They're like, oh, hell, it's Jeff again, Jesus. But, you know, most of the time it ends up being something that they can fix. So, yes, we do quality control for Microsoft, I've decided. The other thing is, talking about the help desk, some of the worst offenders are the managers and in management. They sit there and tell you, these are our processes. You need to open a ticket, blah, 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 blah. We need stats. But when something happens, they don't even follow the process. What do? Start calling everybody, running back and forth. It's like chaos over a problem. So that's a hard thing to overcome as well. And you have to just gently remind them, you know, you preach open a help desk ticket. You need to do that as well, because that's how we can really track it. When you make a phone call and there's no ticket, nobody can track stats and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I'll shut up.
No, good insights. Caroline.
Yeah, I had a number of things. I think Jeff and I think we're really on the same wavelength, because when you answered that previous question, I was like, yep, I did that and I did that. So yep. I think using the search results from VisualSP or using the search results in Microsoft 365 can be very informative. One of the things that I did a while back was, and we're a smaller org, we're about 800 people. I asked the help desk, what are the top 10 things that you get questions on? And then I've done that a couple of times over time to see if that's changed. So that's another way of you doing it, rather than trying to say, I need to, if you can scope it down a little bit, then it makes it easier for them to be able to provide you with that data. I think also knowing your users and understanding your organizational culture is really going to drive how you interact with your users. If you've got 100,000 people, then the way in which you interact with your users is really going to be different than if you have 50 people. It's going to be a totally different approach. I work for the Port of Houston. We are, about 800 people in 3 locations in the same city. And so that's very different from a multinational organization. Something that I had previously talked about in the roundtable, and something that I still do, is something I created called the Collaboration Clinic, which is it's a mix of training and presentations along with what I call drop-in clinics, which are the virtual ones are heavily modeled after VisualSP's office hours. So thank you, VisualSP, for that. But it is an opportunity for users to come and ask questions. I do that in person at different locations, and then I do it virtually as well, so that if users do have questions, and that also helps them when they don't want to go to the help desk, or maybe they don't know that it's a technical, maybe it's not really a technical question, it's more of a practical, how do I do this thing? It's more of a training question that enables them to talk that through. So I think that helps to address that. And then that also protects my time if it has reduced the number of people saying, hey, can you help me with this? Hey, can you look at this? And I say, hey, unless it's a really urgent thing, just bring it to the next clinic. And then that way my time has been protected as well. So it's helped. I think it's helped on both sides.
Yeah, that's a good point. And on the opposite end of the spectrum, the company that I came from was gigantic. So we had communities dedicated to the different apps so that people could just go on Yammer or something and ask a question, and then the people in that community would answer. So even having some kind of link on the side, hey, join this community. I've seen a lot of people do that too. Join the community, ask your questions here. That's always great. One more thing, I did put something in the chat, a link to a Clarity webinar. One of our customers explained how she uses it to identify things that people need help on. So there's a link in there when you have a chance. It's a really good webinar and really good insights from an actual customer who uses it. Jeff, did you have more to?
Yeah, I just got a couple of things to add too. So our environment in really SharePoint and Teams is, Microsoft thinks everybody needs to do everything, and we know everybody doesn't need to do everything. So we really leverage our site owners around our environment, and we have monthly, it used to be called SPUG, SharePoint User Group. We've expanded it now to SPOTUG, which is SharePoint OneDrive Teams User Group. But we put together monthly meetings. We have an agenda. We do demos. We talk about the latest stuff coming down from Microsoft. All that kind of stuff. We communicate that out. And if somebody from out in the blue calls us about a SharePoint site, first thing I do is look up who the owner is, and I point them in that direction. I'm not going to help them unless I work through the owner. So we try to, that really kind of helps, with help as well. And just doing those monthly meetings, we do have a team set up for Teams User Group. We have a team set up for SharePoint User Group, and we constantly post stuff out there. If Microsoft is suddenly, they would never do this, right? Deploy something and not let anybody know about it. Oh my God, they wouldn't do that. But, whenever stuff hits and it's a surprise to everybody, it wasn't in the message center, whatever, we try to communicate in that way also. And, then that leads to maybe creating a VSP item or something as a result. So just FYI. That's it.
Great insights. Yeah, the message center, that's another way. Although you need time to go through that message center too. So.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. What we wanted to do in wrapping things up is we did want to brainstorm together some possible ideas for future topics to discuss. So today was specifically about digital adoption challenges, but what are some other topics that you would like us to cover in these roundtables? Feel free to share in the chat or just talk.
I have a couple of ideas based on my previous experience, but I'm seeing that maybe a couple of people are speaking up too. One would be how to deal with shadow IT is one, because that was a huge thing at my previous company. But Brandon, did you have something that you wanted?
I was going to mention what we said earlier of, feedback loops and one question surveys, that kind of thing, for additional reporting on how things are going.
Awesome.
I'd be interested in a discussion of defining digital literacy and what are the fundamental skills that we need to make sure everyone in our organization has so that they can work collaboratively, productively.
That's deep. I like that. Yeah, because you can't just throw all the tools and everything about the tool at everyone at once and expect it to work. Yeah.
I was going to say that, somewhat along those lines is that, one of the things that I love about technology and probably why I, got into it so much is I like that it provides options. There's so much that you can do with it and everything. And when it comes though to technology, I'm the type of person who likes to get in underneath the hood of things and to see how it works. But then, I know I end up down rabbit holes at times. And ultimately, what I'm really looking for when it's all said and done with, even though I want to understand how it all works, is what's the best practice? What's the best way to do this? And that's certainly one of the things that I find when it comes to training and teaching people stuff and their lack thereof, that, not having enough time to educate end users, people adopt their own habits and their own ways of doing things. And by the time I get to them, sometimes I go, you've got to be kidding me. You learned how to do it. That was a terrible idea. You've now created 3, 4, 5 steps or whatever it is, and there was a better way. So with regard to training and onboarding and that sort of thing, that even in VisualSP, even though, like you said, there's so many ways you can kind of give everybody all the information of how to do something, but almost sort of like a little disclaimer up there that says, here's a best practice that we recommend. Even though this is what's possible, you're probably better off just doing it this way, that type of thing I think would be really helpful, because it amazes me the number of bad habits that people end up adopting when they just are kind of left to their own devices. And I know this can kind of steer some of that. And also from the standpoint as well, I'm sure you could probably do some of this customization on the back end with your little call outs and stuff that I don't know enough about. But also, again, when you think about being in IT, you always want to standardize things as much as possible. So if you want to get into the psychology of all this, if you're the person who's ultimately kind of educating the masses, you might want to, try to get them to all kind of conform to a particular way, because it makes troubleshooting a lot easier, and that they learn the best practices. So something to think about, and how to kind of curtail the product and to put those type of things into it would be helpful.
Interesting perspective. Yeah, I like that. Best practices, because you're right. You can do one thing 1,000 ways using these tools. Yeah,
that seems to be the way I always say with Microsoft. I've always told clients, I go, there's 101 ways to achieve the same task a lot of times. And I know I spend a lot of time in my own time figuring out kind of the best way. And then when I implement solutions for people, I kind of try to lay it out that way. But again, I also I come back after the fact that I'm like, gosh, I mean, they're really making their lives very, very difficult by the way that they're now doing some of these things. So even in that process of learning a new product, something that drives them to, this is the best way, or this is kind of the highly recommended type way to do it. I'm always looking for that a lot of times in Microsoft's knowledge-based things too, or their articles, whatever. It's always missing. I'm just like, it's just a ton of information that's just thrown out there. And then I got to kind of sit there and think to myself, how would I want to, kind of massage this and make it work best? And that would be, I think, very helpful in the product.
Totally agree.
These ideas, as more come up, feel free to send them our way. We are excited to hear all of your ideas. Ultimately, this is about you and creating a community that helps and serves you. So if you have a need, let us know. We would love to know how this went for you. If you can pop in the chat a rating on a scale of 1 to 5, how good it was for you. 5 exceeds expectations. 1, this could have been an email. That really helps us for future roundtables. And we're always open for feedback. We are super excited for having all of you here, and it's been great. It's been really exciting here we're going through.
Yep. Great to see you all. Looking forward to future ones. The format of this may be changing a little, just to give you a heads up. We don't want to make people have to register and go through Teams and that stuff. So we're probably going to be playing around with the format and how we do these roundtables, just to make things easier, just to make it easier for people to join us. So just a heads up there. All right.
Another one,
awesome.
Real quick, I have to say one last thing also. When you think about some of these things, one of the things I'm taking away from some of the users I'm hearing here, y'all work in very large environments, and which is something I'm not in as well. And I can't imagine the task that's on your plate. It would probably drive me crazy, which is why I work in the small business world and stuff. And I work more kind of in a boutique type fashion, real hands-on, but also maybe doing some, like, I would just as much want to be part of these type of connections with people and how it's being used in large scales, but also something that's curtailed for both sides, or the size of organizations, and how you actually deploy it in small environments, large environments, and everything else. You could even kind of market people that way. And I think that would be very helpful.
We just have more ID10T errors than you do, but hey, it's all the same. So
yeah. It's got to be brutal. I mean, I'm definitely, I certainly respect what you all have to deal with.
Well, awesome. Well, great. Well, we will be scheduling another one of these soon, so stay tuned for when that will be and what that topic will be. But this was wonderful. Amanda, anything else you wanted to add?
No, I'm just thankful for you all. This was so great.
Yeah.
I haven't done a roundtable like this in so long, and this is my first one really facilitating and with Tara, and it's just been a blast. So we couldn't do it without you. So I hope to continue to get more people participating and more ideas, and I mean, take notes. And then the next time you come, let us know all of your wonderful insights, because this is valuable. I mean, different perspectives are extremely valuable to everyone. So, all right, that's all for me.
Thank you, everyone. Take care, everyone.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Enjoy it.
Thanks so much.
Soon.
thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice to meet
Bye.
everybody.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.